Huge story. In undercover video, the Washington Commanders vice president of content is secretly recorded by some of the worst people on the planet. What do I mean? That guy, James O'Keefe, is a darling of the far right. Put a pin in that. First, on the Commanders. Rael Enteen, seen here, has been fired after this video went public by O'Keefe's media company. He made damning comments about the players and the NFL's fan base as a whole. So what exactly did he say for this to become a story? Via NBC. Enteen referred to players being homophobic and, quote, dumb as all hell, called fans of the National Football League high school educated alcoholics, and would make disparaging comments, not just about the players, not just about some who work for the National Football League, but Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Transcribed by The Athletic, Enteen said, quote, over 50% of our roster is white, religious, and God says, F the gays. Their interpretation. I don't buy any of that. Another big chunk of low-income African Americans that come from a community that is inherently very homophobic. So then he went after Jerry Jones, Donald Trump supporter and flat-out oligarch in the United States of America. He would say, Jerry Jones, who really runs the NFL, I think he hates gay people, black people. One of those we weren't necessarily surprised about. Both of them, not surprised at all. Quite honestly, if you followed who this man is, you wouldn't be shocked by any of this. Not to be outdone, that's Roger Goodell would come up, and the now former employee called the NFL commissioner a $50 million puppet and the league's social justice efforts performative. He'd say it's not done out of the goodness of their heart and morality. It's done because George Floyd changed the game. I mean that the social justice efforts are a performance for the sake of public perception and not because they want to actually push progress. I will get to all my thoughts in a moment because there is a lot here, but something that stood out to me, along with front office sports, after watching this video was this. Perhaps the most interesting moment comes when Enteen appears to admit being pressured into lying through the team's official social media accounts. He would recall an infamous incident in 2021 when sewage rained on Washington fans and he had to tweet that it was actually water. The spin, he referred to it as something of state-run media. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, here is that piece of video.
That's sewage. That's how we celebrate. They don't do that down in the Carolinas. Oh.
That wouldn't be the only one, by the way. September of 2022, this fan took this video of urinals leaking in the bathroom. You forget when Jalen Hurts was walking towards the tunnel after an Eagles W back in January and the railing collapsed. So let's just go through some of these, shall we? Because I feel like there's a lot to fill in here. First, when he said that players are homophobic, none of that should be surprising to you. This is a very religiously centered roster of players. You can find many instances of this, Kirk Cousins certainly being one. There are many others. A lot of these players also show that they want to thank God for wins and never do when they lose. So there is that. The second part, saying that it's F the gays, this also shows why there have been so few players who come out while they are members of NFL rosters. There have been a few examples here and there, but there haven't been a lot. And we know why there haven't been a lot. As much as Brett Favre and many others will say, you know, when you step into that locker room, we are all together and we are a band of brothers. Yet why do some of those brothers who just happen to be members of the LGBTQ plus community choose to come out when they know their playing days are over and they announce their retirement? Again, a few examples have certainly transpired during their playing days or before it even gets to start for some, yet a majority, a solid 90+%, will come out after. Ask yourself why. Another huge moment was when he said, Jerry Jones, who really runs the NFL, I think he hates gay people, black people. We have the video evidence, and I showed a screenshot of when Jerry Jones was a student in high school and what exactly went about there. Quick refresher.
This photo is from September 9, 1957, and it shows Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones among a crowd of white students trying to keep black students from integrating at an Arkansas high school. This is a Washington Post reporting. Reports that Jones, who was 14 at the time, could be seen standing a few yards from where the 6 black students were being jostled and repelled with snarling racial slurs by ringleaders of the mob.
So would one be surprised that he does indeed, according to this now former employee who was fired, hate black people? No, you wouldn't be surprised. He also said that if any players, which is predominantly black on his roster, knelt for the national anthem, that they would no longer have a job, and that his team toes the line when the national anthem is played. These people were saying that there is racism going on in this country, that police are killing unarmed black people at a high rate. And Jerry Jones said, you bring that up, statistical, factual, accurate information, you should go find another job because you don't have any say in this organization. Kind of a tell, especially when, in addition, he supports some of the worst candidates when it comes to political office. He also said Roger Goodell is a $50 million puppet and that the league's social justice efforts were performative. Let's be very clear about this. I have been saying this. He is the highest paid shield for the billionaire oligarchy class, not just in the United States, but specifically the National Football League. He goes up there so the owners don't have to take any heat. He takes the bullets. That is what he is paid to do. Increase revenue, because at the end of the day, all they care about is money. They don't care about any of the labor whatsoever that goes into their product. They just view these guys as a number. And also, hand in hand with number, they want their numbers to improve. So Roger Goodell was tasked with those two things. That is it. There is no lies being told from this now former employee. Him saying the league's social justice efforts were performative. Let's go back in time, shall we? 2020. The world shuts down. George Floyd is killed. Jacob Blake is shot. The NFL is one of the last entities to say anything about this from a league perspective. And it actually takes someone who is a social media employee to say, hey, it might be wise for us to speak up. It was a very well done written piece via Yahoo Sports that it was a social media employee that urged Roger Goodell to shoot a video in his great 480p definition, in likely his basement, saying, we at the National Football League believe Black Lives Matter. And oh my God, liberal media ate it up. It was pathetic. CNN ate it up. MSNBC. Oh my God. Roger Goodell. Is he turning a corner? Is he doing this? Is he? Oh my God, it's so amazing. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That same social media employee also got some of the NFL's most well-known players to shoot their own versions that would be put together in a compilation video talking about their experiences being black in America and how this is a serious problem. It didn't take the NFL to do that. It took one employee, a lower level employee who had the balls to do something right. So what he is saying, that the league's social justice efforts are performative, is 1,000% accurate. It is. Now, when it comes to the other part of the story, which is James O'Keefe.
First, no, that is not your water coming to a boil. It's our nightly checkup on the Something for Nothing crowd. It's tea time. I take full responsibility for our decision to visit Senator Landrieu's office, said the lead defendant. I should have used other means. And with that, James O'Keefe was sentenced to 3 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and a fine of $1,500. His co-conspirators got similar but lesser terms. The final charges to which the four pleaded guilty today, entering real property belonging to the United States under false pretenses. It was O'Keefe's sophomoric idea that because somebody in Louisiana Senator Mary Landrieu's office said their phones were jammed during the health care reform debate, that could only mean the phones were broken, and thus he would videotape the senator neglecting the will of the people by not getting the jammed phones fixed, or who knows. As those who defended him kept saying, he's just a stupid kid. Presumably, O'Keefe does not realize he probably would have looked better as a kind of junior Watergate figure than as just a dim-witted child, but I doubt he heard much other than the judge referring to him and his co-defendants today in a perverse affirmation as, quote, journalists.
He's one of the most terrible people in conservative media. More from The Athletic. O'Keefe Media Group said on its site that it uses citizen journalists with support from an in-house team to produce content. O'Keefe would found Project Veritas before leaving in February 2023. That company has been known to use deceptive techniques to secretly record videos and have been accused of deceptively editing videos. In the year 2023, the Westchester County DA's office confirmed it's looking into matters concerning James O'Keefe, who was suspended in February, later fired as CEO and chairman. The board said he spent an excessive amount of donor funds on personal luxuries. And what were some of those, you might be asking, via the AP? The most recent IRS filings show it brought in more than $20 million, I'll get to the funds in a second, in revenue in 2021. And they did it by trying to edit those videos saying, see how terrible this person is, see how terrible this company is, including Acorn. If you know, you know. More from the outlet, the organization sued O'Keefe, accusing him of breaching his contract with incredibly troubling workplace and financial misconduct, including screaming at colleagues, exposing employees to obscene messages, and having staffers run errands for him, including cleaning his boat and picking up his laundry. Here are those funds. The organization would allege he spent $10,000 on a chopper flight from New York to Maine, more than $150,000 on private car services, luxury hotel stays, and more, while his team stayed at like a Motel 6. When working for Andrew Breitbart, per Rolling Stone, O'Keefe allegedly attempted to lure a female CNN reporter onto a boat festooned with sex toys, porno posters, a ceiling mirror, and hidden cameras. The plan, according to emails between collaborators, was for O'Keefe to mock seduce her, but O'Keefe's then assistant warned the reporter about the scheme when she arrived at the office. What a great man. O'Keefe would receive funding from the rich, and to give you an idea of that, they are conservatives like Eric O'Keefe, no relation, a longtime right-wing operative closely affiliated with the Koch brothers. He reportedly donated $50,000. The Mercers, well known for funding far-right causes, gave $25,000. Much of the funding for Veritas between 2011 and 15 came from Donors Trust, a conservative donor-advised fund that functions as a dark money pipeline, via Rolling Stone, between anonymous benefactors and the causes they support. In 2015, the fund contributed nearly half of Veritas's total revenue. So when I say that this person is terrible, it is an understatement. It's an understatement. He has tried to infiltrate Black Lives Matter protests in, I believe, 2016, even going as far back as Ferguson. And he employed people from a previous story who were Muslim to go over a script to try to goad protesters into saying, like, yeah, we want all cops killed, blah, blah, blah. Which goes to show a few things. First off, he thinks these protesters are dumb. The second thing is it shows the levels that he will go along with many other far-right activists, journalists, whatever they want to call themselves, into trying to show that being on the right side of history is wrong. It is pure fear-mongering. I absolutely hate this person. A story is a story. They did this on someone when it should have never happened in the first place, because this woman who is a undercover journalist matched with this VP of content on Hinge. What this shows me, though, is that many employees see through the NFL's propaganda arm and are able to see the light of day, just not publicly. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.